Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today I wanted to make a short video just kind of riffing about the topic regarding how Canada's pretty much like half of our telecoms were down, the majority of our financial services were down, all this craziness from something so simple as supposedly like an error in a patch update on one single Rogers server, which devastated the whole country's telecoms and financial services and government services as well were all not working. And some people didn't even have access to emergency services, which is technically illegal for that to even be possible. All that aside, I want to talk about how even with all this craziness happening, you could have still used crypto just fine. I mean, you still needed a connection to the internet, whether you had to get Wi-Fi or do whatever. You still had access to your wealth, but you could not get your money out of ATMs. Your debit card wasn't working. You couldn't even do e-transfer from someone else. The majority of your financial access to your own funds and wealth was impeded. You could have still used your credit card and upped your debt, but you might have a low limit, and obviously relying on debt is not a very good solution. You want to obviously have access to your own funds, because what if this lasted longer? What if this happens again? All these kinds of things. So we're going to dive into all of that and why crypto is a great solution to all of this, and kind of defeats a lot of the arguments that I've heard over the years about, banking is so much more reliable and crypto is like magic fake internet money. Well, here we are where crypto is working just fine while the legacy systems were toppling over. Let's talk about that after a quick word from my sponsor.
A big thank you and shout out to my sponsor Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android.
Thanks again to my sponsor, which is actually a privacy wallet. So not a bad time to probably stock up on some privacy cryptocurrency. Anyways, though, crypto was working just fine if you had a connection, if you had Starlink and you were connected to that, or if you're anywhere in the world, or if you wanted to leave Canada, you could take all of your wealth on a crypto wallet and just leave. You couldn't just take all of your cash out of your bank and leave. You couldn't e-transfer. You couldn't access it at all. Even people outside of Canada could not do e-transfers. Anywhere in the world, you could have still done crypto transfers as long as you can get some kind of a connection. Plus, there's even there's alternative ways to access the internet and things so that you could still get a connection if possible. There's like AltheaNet on Cosmos. There's all these different alternatives to still have a connection somehow. Plus, they're finding ways to, transmit Bitcoin prices over like radio waves and all these interesting innovations. All that aside, though, when push came to shove, the legacy systems were shut down and crypto was working just fine. I still had full sovereignty and control over all of my cryptocurrency, and I had little to no access or control over my fiat centralized banking currency, which Canadian dollars. The reason that I think this is so interesting, though, is because we've heard time and time again for years and years and years, as long as Bitcoin has existed, that it's not real, there's nothing backing it, all these things. We've already dealt with all these claims, we've refuted all these claims, but we've never had an actual scenario come into play where the reliability of the fiat system and the reliability of crypto systems and blockchain was put to the test. Of course, you could say, like, in terms of like inflation and things, the fiat system is always like doing very, very poorly, but I'm talking more about like infrastructure and, actually being able to just use the technology itself. Of course, if there was a global blackout, if there was no electricity or internet anywhere ever, we'd have much bigger problems to worry about if your crypto wasn't working. So I always think that's a silly conversation. It's like, well, what if Bitcoin doesn't work because you don't have internet? It's like, okay, well, you're not getting any money out of your bank account, as we just saw. Your bank account is going to go down before your crypto access is going to go down. That is the big takeaway here. In terms of like risk and, what you're still going to have access to or not when a crisis hits, it seems to be the case that your bank is going to be more at risk and go down well before your access and reliability and, true ownership and etc. for your crypto is going to go away, unless of course you're holding it on exchanges or, something that's bad practice. But generally speaking, you are actually in this scenario more safe to have been holding crypto and you have access to that. I know some people are going to watch this and argue, okay, but who's going to accept the crypto? That is a different argument altogether. But in terms of value, I could have still taken that crypto and gone to the United States and spent it there, or find somewhere that does accept it. I could have still gotten access to the internet and bought things online using gift cards or whatever it happens to be. There were still many ways for me to use my crypto to be able to do things. Now, I admit that it is much easier to buy things with cash, but when you can't access that, that's the problem. The problem that we've always been trying to solve with cryptocurrency is the middleman. In this case, the banking systems, which charge you money to store your money there. Clearly, they're not as efficient. It's not even open all day. So many drawbacks to the banking system. Plus, I'll get into it in the future of comparing legacy systems to crypto in terms of energy use, because everyone's been kind of going after Bitcoin lately for energy use, even though it's over 75% renewable, which is pretty wild. All that aside, at the end of the day, you want to have as many avenues as possible to access wealth and be able to sustain yourself financially, especially in times of crisis. Now, even if you don't want to, replace all of your money with crypto only, it's still good to have that backup access. I still had that backup access, and it was good to know that even if I couldn't get money out of the bank, I still had a ton of wealth that I could get access to if I really needed it. And not a lot of people can say that. Plus, obviously it's good to withdraw cash, have gold, have things aside, have all these different avenues. I've prepared in every possible way. But I just think this is such an interesting time to talk about how real or how legitimate is cryptocurrency. Because you always get these arguments that it's like, yeah, but it's not real, it's not legit, it's not like, oh, it's actually government co-opted or whatever. Okay, but when push comes to shove in a crisis scenario, do you care more about all of these theoretical arguments, or do you care about what actually works? Because what actually worked was cryptocurrency. And I think this is a beautiful, it was a terrible thing, but it was a beautiful example of why cryptocurrency is needed and why it is important and why decentralization of finance does matter. And more people are going to wake up to this once they see more of things like this happening. When your financial legacy systems are being put to the test and failing, people are going to look for alternative methods. And crypto is a great alternative that has continually succeeded. Take away all the concerns about price and things. Yes, it's volatile, but it's decentralized. You're not paying a price necessarily for decentralization, but you are opening yourself to risk in volatility of value. And that is scary, but you're massively downplaying the risks of actually being able to access your money and not having someone else controlling it and all these other issues that pop up with traditional centralized legacy financial systems like banking. So all of this really to say that you should have some crypto in your portfolio at the very least in a crisis scenario. Ironically, this was never really a pitch for cryptocurrency where you'd think that, okay, well, if banks were inaccessible, use your crypto. That was never really something that people thought about before. But here we are finding another great solution or reason or use case to even have crypto in the beginning is that, yeah, your legacy systems are much more fragile than you expected. Apparently, all of this happened from one server update, which I don't believe is true. But to me, there's two scenarios what happened. Either it was just an update that went bad and our systems are terribly fragile and very poorly held up, and this could easily happen again, and or shows any cyber attacker how easy it would be to just devastate our entire country's financial systems, or it was a cyber attack and it was successful. Both scenarios are really, really bad because it opens us up for this to happen again. And I just don't see them tripling down on, improving all of our cybersecurity and rebuilding out the infrastructure of Canada. That's not realistic. That's probably not going to happen. And mind you, this isn't just me talking, completely uninformed. I did go to school for cybersecurity, networking, and IT security for 4 years and graduated in university. I graduated in 2017, which is about 5 years ago now. But again, I'm not really leaning on that. This is more about crypto than to speculate on exactly what happened with all these networks going down and all this craziness. The takeaway here is simply that crypto is the future. Crypto is a great way for you to spread out the risks that are presented by the financial system because they kind of counterbalance. You're FDIC insured with the financial system, the normal system. You're probably a little less, scared of the price swings and all this stuff. But we're seeing inflation at all-time highs as well. So it's not like the fiat dollar is really that good. It's going down more and more and more in terms of purchasing value. So you're not really getting that far away from the whole volatility concern. It's just that it's just your buying value that's going down. So you don't really see a number going down. So it doesn't feel as existential of a crisis as you seeing your Bitcoin dropping 80% in value. And you actually see the price go down because it's denominated in US dollars or Canadian dollars. That's pretty much it for me though. All of this to simply say that crypto is a great way to secure yourself against these kinds of problems. It's not perfect, but it's definitely going to give you another avenue of wealth that you can access, especially in a time of crisis, because you're not going to be worried whether or not your $2,000 of Bitcoin went down to $1,000 if you have $0 anywhere else and that 1,000 is the only thing that you have. It's who cares if you lost some of the money? Just to have any money is important at all. And, we could see more issues with the banking system, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. Freezing accounts, entire banking system going down. Our legacy systems have been put to the test over the past couple of years, and it really just seems to be getting worse and worse. I can't imagine what the next legacy financial crisis is going to be. But, I'm confident in that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency will be a better thing to be holding than just fiat, digital fiat. That's as bad as it gets. At least having fiat cash is a good alternative, but digital fiat is completely unreliable. And I would not be relying on that at all. So you guys tell me though, am I way off on this? Was this less impactful than you think it is? As a Canadian, I can, have a little bit more experience for what's actually going on around me. Cause, I would go out and everyone was asking hey, can I e-transfer you money for some cash? And then I'd say, fine. And then they'd try to e-transfer and they couldn't even e-transfer. There was no possible way for them to transfer wealth to me. The only thing that they could do was rely on their credit card to buy stuff from places. And again, you're still pretty limited with a credit card. And you have to take on debt versus actually accessing your own funds. And who knows how long this could have lasted. All these kinds of things. You couldn't even pay off the credit to get more credit because you couldn't even move your money around in your account. That's how bad it was. That was what I saw in a firsthand experience. And a lot of people were having trouble with this. Mind you, again, not many places accept crypto, but I still had a lot of, confidence knowing that, well, I still have access to all of my crypto and I've got my fiat cash and I have all these backups. That's where you want to be in a time of a crisis. You want to be in the best place possible where you're the most prepared to deal with anything coming your way and you're not strapped for, any kind of wealth or value to be able to purchase things or, buy a plane ticket or get out or do whatever you need to do, crypto is always a good solution to have. There's no reason why you shouldn't have at least a little bit. That's my take. This isn't financial advice, though. Thank you for watching. Make sure to comment hashtag #1ham in the comments below, and that way I know you watched the whole video. Anyways, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.